Hello, it's week, week 11. This is the last week I can record videos before I am away for a while, as I said in last week. Over the last few days, I have been writing like crazy. Just been a writing machine, working on the feature script. One day the computer crashed and erased everything I'd done for that day, which was very irritating. I mean, it wasn't everything, but it was probably about 4 hours of work, which hadn't backed up for whatever reason. But regardless of that, I have written a ton over the weekend, just gone, which is incredibly draining. I haven't sat down and just solidly written like that for a little while, and it's incredibly draining thing to do. Just sort of emotionally, I guess. I don't know. It just is. It might just be just because I'm staring at a computer screen for so long, so focused. But it's all good. The script is coming along really nicely. I'm not going to get it done, I don't think, by the end of the month. I'm trying to get as much written this week as I can, but I'm not going to get it done by the end of the month, which was my original goal. But I probably won't be able to do anything on it at all next week. So I'm making myself a week in lieu, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But yeah, next week I probably won't be able to do it at all. But I don't want to go into details about it until the script is finished and somebody else can read it and I can get some feedback and such. Being sat on the computer in little breaks between writing, I tend to jump on YouTube and things like that. And I've been watching the RPG show that's just started on Geek and Sundry, as well as catching up on Critical Role, which I'd not heard of before. But that's something that's been running on the Geek and Sundry website or some channel. I don't really know much about it. I've just sort of got into it. And there's like 15 episodes, something like that. So it's been going for a little while. But I've watched the first few. Each episode's about 3 hours long, so it's a bit of I can't watch one all at once. So watching it in 30-minute chunks or whatever. But yeah, it's quite a lot to get through. So I'm kind of annoyed I didn't find out about it when it first came out and could have been up to date. But yeah, there's a lot of that. If it's 15 episodes and each one's about 3 hours, that's what, 45 hours of something to have, like a show to watch. That's crazy. But anyway, I will do my best to keep up with that. The reason I mention it is because it's kind of got the idea of doing an RPG again in my head. I think I mentioned this briefly last week. We've actually done some work towards putting it together now. So a lot of kind of gathered a small group of players and gotten them thinking on character creation. So they're thinking of character creation whilst I'm away. So when I come back, I can start looking to organise a little gathering. It has also occurred to me, because I kind of already have a lot of the necessary audio equipment, and I maybe should record it and put it out as kind of a podcast thing. I know there's games that do that and do record and go out as a podcast. And I've never done a podcast or anything. I don't know why I've never done any of these audio-based things, despite the fact being a sound man, it's kind of never occurred to me. But yeah, I thought that might be vaguely interesting. I don't know. It's just another thing to do, and it's a way of combining, I guess, work and play, which would be interesting. But yeah, which is the goal, really, isn't it? If you can combine work and play into one, then you've cracked the code of life. But if there is interest in something like that, and I would love to hear, please do say. I haven't brought it up with the group, the players yet. I kind of mentioned it very briefly on Facebook, but yeah, I'd have to clear it with them first, of course, obviously. The system we'll be using is Fate Core. I'm a big fan of Fate Core. I've only managed to play it a couple of times, which is unfortunate, because I really like the storytelling design of it. I wasn't an enormous fan of the D&D style of games, because they often feel like, or the way they're run can often feel like you're just marking time from one combat encounter to the next. And that kind of, I was more interested in the minutiae and the world building, and Fate fits perfectly into that. And also, as a games master, I have a very what's the word? Improvisational. I forgot the word improvisational. Is that ironic? It seems like that should be ironic in there. Yes, no, I have a very improvisational style. So I kind of have the chunks, and then I just build out from there as the game goes, and Fate fits in that for me perfectly. If it proceeds, then I will make a video talking about the ins and outs of the game and the setup of the game at some point. So that's the thing that I might be doing. I don't think I will video record it for the channel, just because that's another layer of complication, and that's quite a whole thing. Maybe a later date, I don't know. I had thought about recording like board game plays and things, but my setup at the moment is quite simple, and I don't think I've got the necessary to sort of do that. because I got so buried in the writing at the weekend, I kind of haven't had time or haven't got round to doing any video recordings. So I'm going to do some tonight, and then I'm going to hopefully have some time on Wednesday to do some more. But if I can't get anything up in the weeks that I'm away, then sorry about that. It just is the thing. If I had 1 million subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views, then I would go all out for it. But I don't, even though I love my very small audience. I can't really take the time to organise things like that. But that's this last week. I'm going to go ahead now and record next week's weekly video blog, which is a weird thing to be doing. I have rebranded this. It was called Video Diary, but then I realised that didn't make any sense because it wasn't really a diary. So it's just kind of called it This Week, and then a little, fill in the blank, so this week, and then whatever comes to mind at the time. That's all part of just figuring out what I'm doing with this channel. As I say, thank you for watching. Do keep watching. I will try and get as much as I can up over the next few weeks, and I will be back in force when I return. I will hammer away with some bigger video content to make up for my absence. That is my foolhardy promise to this channel, but I will do my best to keep up. But thanks again. The end.